What's good out there, Liquid Trucking? Welcome into the Liquid Trucking Podcast's 4th of July celebration. I didn't have like something really big to play right there. Oh wait, I do have something to play right here. This is going to be our official anthem for the Liquid Trucking Podcast 4th of July celebration 2025. And it is from my guy Charlie from Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Put her on, it's a good kick, a little ass kicks. That's in the USA. Gonna climb mountain the soul flag, gonna fly on an eagle. Get some bottle and drive back up the road, swirling. Some ass gonna rise, southern kick ass. Rock flag and eagle.
Rock flag and eagle indeed, Charlie. Welcome to the party. Today's podcast episode is all about Independence Day. I've got two drivers that are coming on to join me here in just a little bit. We are going to talk all things 4th of July. I told them straight up. I don't really want to direct a lot of this conversation like I normally would because I want it to be a conversation. I want it to just be something fun where we just kind of get into it and we start talking and see where it goes. So I do have a huge, comprehensive list of 4th of July facts that I will get to with the drivers. If I don't get to them with the drivers, because chances are we might find some rabbit holes and talk about blowing stuff up. I will get to the 4th of July facts towards the end of the episode if I don't get to them with the drivers. Mike Stanfield and Mikal Donut Duncan joining me on the show here today. And I happen to know that these guys have a couple of really good stories, probably even more than that. I know that I've got a ton of them. I'll tell you one here is kind of innocent. We had some rival kids from a rival school. You know, we went to school in Enterprise. These kids were kids from Joseph, and they didn't like us, and we didn't like them. The school sat about 6 miles apart. I feel like we were about junior high age, maybe a little younger, maybe like 6th grade when this happened. But we got into a little bit of a fireworks war. Now that's a different thing in the state of Oregon, because of all the restrictions we have on fireworks here. But we'd throw ground blooms over next to each other. Snap pops, that was a big one. Like everybody be sitting on the beach, you come by with some snap pops and throw them down right where they're sitting, and makes them jump. It was a back and forth thing like that. Until an acquaintance of mine, again, I have to be careful naming friends and acquaintances on this show because while I know this guy, he's a nice enough guy. As a kid, he was an absolute menace, and that's why he would do things like this. But he took one of those smoke grenades. You remember they're shaped like little plastic grenades, and they just pour smoke. I mean, so much smoke. And all the rival kids were sitting in a circle around some fountain fireworks that they were lighting off. And Joe decided to go light this smoke bomb and gently walk by and place it into one of the rival kids' hoods in his hooded sweatshirt. While I don't condone that type of behavior because of the safety risks involved, I will tell you that a 6th grade age child running screaming across the beach with a smoke grenade in his hood that he has no idea is there might be some of the best unintentional comedy I've ever come across, because we won that war that day with the rival kids, and all it took was making one of them look like an idiot. So, hey, 4th of July, lots of fun though, as I will talk to the drivers about. When I think about 4th of July, I have memories from every stage of childhood into adulthood, some of the dumb things that my friends and family and I have gotten involved in, and all of the great memories of just getting to spend that weekend, that, stretch of 3 or 4 days with family. I used to go back to Enterprise where I grew up, which is about a 7-hour drive from where I live now. Used to go back there almost every year on the 4th of July. It's come to a point now that making that drive that much with the dogs and the wife and everything isn't something we do quite as much, but I know they're still going to have a giant blowout party over there this year, and I'm sad that I'm going to have to miss it because I know that one of those fireworks has got my name on it. So shoot that thing way up into the air and blow it up. I'm just so excited about 4th of July. Don't really have any plans yet, except for the fact that I have bought 16 Oscar Mayer wieners. I got 2 8-packs. I don't know why I made such a big deal. I'm not going to eat all 16 of them. I could probably get through an even dozen, maybe a baker's dozen. Do I have to eat the buns? Am I Joey Chestnut here? Who knows? I am going to eat like a proud red-blooded American on 4th of July. That's one thing I know. And I'm sure I'll also probably watch some neighborhood kids with their little, they're kind of boring fireworks, to be honest, that we get here in Oregon. Nothing can go up in the air. It sucks. But, it's always a good time. I just love the fact that we're free to do whatever we want. And that is, I think, the essence of the whole episode. It's American freedom, and we're celebrating it here today on the Liquid Trucking Podcast. Red, white, and blue all day long. And by the way, that eagle screech is supposed to be like a patriotic, you just imagining an eagle flying by an American flag. Please do not get the impression that I am shooting bottle rockets at my eagle. Not okay. Okay, that's one thing you can't shoot bottle rockets at on the 4th of July weekend is an American eagle. Actually, this is actually just the law. You can't do it. But anyway, before we get the drivers in here real quick, I want to get over to the homework so that we can get on to the fun stuff. I'm sitting here looking at podcast.liquidtrucking.com. Of course, this week's episode is at the very top of the page. We've got liquid merchandise. There's a shop now button. You can click it right there. It's got that black t-shirt on there with the Liquid Trucking logo. It ain't every day you come by a trucking company that's got as sweet a looking logo as Liquid Trucking does. And it looks good, man. I wear this hat all the damn time, and I will be getting my hands on one of those Liquid Trucking t-shirts as well. We've also got the Deliver Recon leaderboard up there, and we are also entering people to win right now. We are saying, calling all drivers, show off your rig, your road companions, or your breathtaking views from your route. Submit your best photos, whether it's your truck shining in the sunset, your furry co-pilot riding shotgun, or a snapshot of life on the road. Winners will be featured on the podcast and social media, plus score some awesome prizes. So that is on the website, podcast.liquidtrucking.com. And of course, we've got all sorts of other info. It's your landing page for everything podcast. And please submit those pictures to me in there. I want to see them. I've had a lot of you guys text me pictures directly and really send a lot of them in, but I can't get you entered to win the contest that way. All I can do is direct you over to podcast.liquidtrucking.com and have you upload all of your awesome photos there for a chance to win. And of course, we'll feature you on the podcast and on the website and everything else. So exciting stuff over there. It's our one-stop shop for the Liquid Trucking Podcast. Once again, podcast.liquidtrucking.com. It's time to get the drivers in here and celebrate America the American way with, blowing stuff up.
Welcome to the gold standard of podcasts for the gold standard of drivers. This is the Liquid Trucking Podcast with your host, Marcus Bridges.
All right, it's time to bring on the drivers for today's 4th of July celebration. I'm very happy to be joined by my guy, Mike Stanfield. Mike, welcome back to the show, man. Always a pleasure to have you.
Heyo, happy 4th of July, y'all.
Hey, thanks, man. Happy Independence Day. Do you ever, do you have anybody in your life that kind of draws the line and won't wish you a happy 4th of July? They are a staunch Independence Day person?
I used to be like that, and then I stopped giving a shit.
It happens right about 40, doesn't it? It's like you start working on 40, and that give a shit meter starts bouncing off zero frequently.
Yeah, for sure.
And also, welcome to the show, Michael Donut Duncan. Donut, always a pleasure to have you here as well, my friend. Happy Independence Day.
It's always fun to be here, and yeah, happy Independence.
Are you an Independence Day guy, or will you say 4th of July, July 4th?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. No, I only ask because I notice that there are some people out there in the world that it offends if you say the wrong thing. It's more of a problem around Christmas, right? You start wishing people Merry Christmas and they don't celebrate Christmas. You might get a Happy Holidays in return, kind of sneering at you. But I don't know, man. I feel like it's with the 4th of July, it's one of those things where it's like, hey, can we all just get a hot dog and a smile? Because we're here and we get to do this stuff. And that's kind of the whole point of today's show, is to talk about how we as proud Americans celebrate our independence. And I've always thought, fellas, and I don't know how you feel about this, I haven't traveled out of the country very much, but whenever I do go out of the country, like I was in Mexico recently and I was looking around and I was like, it seems like there's a lot of Americans vacationing here. I wonder what happens on July 4th in Mexico. Like, is Cancun just a blowout, just Stars and Stripes party in a different country? I don't know. I've never been out of the country before for the holiday, but these are the questions that surface in my head when I'm talking to myself most of the time, fellas. So, welcome into the podcast. It's just a stream of consciousness episode today, apparently.
Oh, good.
So let's kick it off by talking about some of your favorite memories on July 4th. And these can be really anything from the time you were a kid till now, celebrating with your own children, celebrating with family, whatever it may be. And the reason that I want to kind of keep it broad and open like that is because when you say 4th of July to me, no less than 6 or 7 stories come up in my mind that I want to tell people because I think they're funny or they're interesting. And they run the gamut, man. These things happened from the time I was a small child all the way into adulthood and well past. So, Mike Stanfield, let's start out with you and your favorite memories from your life on the 4th of July.
One of my favorite ones that I think about all the time to this day, man, is like me and my friends would get together and we'd go and we'd buy those big ass bushels of bottle rockets, and we would grab like a whole bunch of smoke bombs and like firecrackers and like just a bunch of different stuff. And then we would go out in this, my buddy's house. We had like a big field, and we would just shoot bottle rockets at each other left and right, like a full blown war. Like I remember, I like took like this huge like smoke cake thing. There was like 20 different colors or something like that. I lit it, and once filled up the field, we had somebody stay back and keep shooting bottle rockets while the rest of us went around the house and flanked them and was shooting with bottle rockets and throwing firecrackers at them and everything. Man, that was the fun of that. It was so stupid, obviously, like, don't do that. But, I mean, we did it, and it was the best time ever.
Yeah, it gives a whole new meaning to you'll put your eye out from A Christmas Story. That whole thing. It's like you'll blow a digit off. But yeah, man, as kids with that kind of air of invincibility, when you're a kid, you don't think anything bad can happen. Nothing's going to come of this except the best fun we've ever had, right?
Right.
Did anybody get hurt?
It was awesome. Nah, man, no. I mean, we'd shoot it right at each other. We'd shoot at each other's feet and stuff like that. But, how fireworks are. Sometimes they have a mind of their own and want to do what they want to do.
Yeah, I got a
So
couple.
they would, like, skip up and blow up in each other's faces and stuff. But nobody really got hurt.
It's amazing. That's a good one to start out with. Donut, I know you've got some too, man. And I have a feeling that a lot of these are going to be, in some way, shape, or form, shooting fireworks at your friends. Whether it be on purpose or purely by accident. But Donut, your favorite 4th of July memory?
I do have an accidental story to tell, but I'll leave that for a little bit later.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm trying to remember. We did 4th of July mostly the same way every year, but I come from a pretty different kind of family, pretty blended, a broad extended family kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And there was one year where everyone got together. My mother, the myriad of foster and step parents I've had over the years, my grandparents, and just everybody was there for one particular 4th of July. And I was in high school and I was apprenticing under a pyrotechnician.
Oh, so a guy that professionally blows stuff up.
Yeah, so I took it upon myself to try to craft some things and knocked over my whole family with an artillery shell that didn't exactly work the way it was supposed to.
Oh no, like it blew up a lot closer to everybody than it was supposed to.
No. Well, yes and no. You see, because when you
That
try,
seems to be pretty black and white, Donut. Either yes or no. I don't know how it could be both, but I'm listening.
not close enough for the sparks or fire to hit anybody, but the shockwave did. Because I was training under a guy making the industrial stuff for fireworks shows and stuff, so I was putting that together in the street of a housing area. Oh boy!
Wow, did you blow out any windows?
No, but they knew it went off.
Well, yeah, because all their family members were laying on the floor around them, I assume.
Nothing broke, but everything rattled in about half a block from the house.
So, talk to me a little bit about what the issue was here, because you said you were apprenticing under this guy. He builds things that go way up in the air and then explode with that type of intensity. You just decided to light one of these things off on the ground and see how it would go, or you just didn't know how to do it right? What happened?
So I set everything up like I was shown, but I failed to account for the fact that failed to account for angle, because he was very specific about the angles for the fireworks show at the lake.
Yeah, they tend to do these things around giant bodies of water just in case.
Yeah, so I did the angle and everything perfect, but because you're usually out at this lake and it goes off way up there over the water, no one really feels it on the shore.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Okay, so they felt this one.
It went up and people stumbled and fell down. I don't know if it was the explosion or shock. I felt it wash over me. I'm like, that's cool.
It was one of those moments where you go, that was cool. Let's never do that again.
Yeah.
How many times have you done it since?
I haven't done that again. Although he faded way too long to answer that.
That's what I was thinking too, Mike. I'm like, is either he just disconnected from the phone call or he's going through a Rolodex of scenarios in his head right now. And I do think it was the latter. So you've never made that mistake again, Donut, but it sounds like you had made mistakes.
Oh yeah, I've made flash pots and all sorts of homemade fireworks over the years with the proper certifications. I have to say that with supervision, because that particular time I learned my lesson. It's like, yeah, I should probably have supervision every time I use something like this.
Yeah, I think there's a warning on the packages that says something about do not allow children to use it, or something like that.
I feel like they need to outline children a little better, because I was like 19.
Do not give to anyone with an undeveloped prefrontal cortex, and that can span a lot of years, all right? Oh, it's funny, man. That is funny. Well, I grew up in a state where we like to unceremoniously catch giant swaths of the state on fire and burn them down every summer, because we decided way back during the Clinton administration that we don't want to manage our forests anymore. We just want to let them grow and grow and grow, and then they burn down, and everybody in the state capital of Salem looks at each other and asks why. So long before I was born, any firework that launches into the air was banned in the state of Oregon. So no bottle rockets, nothing that explodes. So no black cats, no M80s, no mortars, nothing that goes up in the air and explodes. Only stuff that stayed on the ground. Of course, sparklers were real popular, but we basically had to smuggle fireworks in. See, I grew up real close to the Idaho and Washington border, and they would set up shops right over the border because they knew that Oregon kids were going to go up there, and every single year, somebody in the friend group's dad would make a pilgrimage and come back with a garage full of explosives. And, we would mess around with those, but the cops is a small town, and the cops would sit around and listen for that type of stuff, so you had to be careful. But we would get creative with things. You guys know what ground bloom flowers are, right? Yeah, so ground bloom flower. So I'll tell you, Donut. It's about 2.5 inches long, and it's just a little looks like a little bolt, if you will, but it's uniform size all the way down. And the fuse is at one end of it, and you light it, and it spins really fast on the ground, and it kind of looks like a little flaming flower, right? And I mean, those things spin. I don't even know what the RPM on them is, but it's high. And so what we used to do, because there's a big fireworks display at the lake that we always hung out on 4th of July, as kids, we would take the ground bloom flowers and light them and then throw them out into the lake, and they would either start spinning and dive into the water real cool, or they would land and then they would actually spin fast enough that they would sit on top of the water and spin until they washed themselves out. So it was really cool. And I had a great arm as a t-ball player, man. I was could get it over there from third base, right? So I was taking this ground bloom flower and I was gonna let it fly. And for some reason, probably a lot of the same reasons that went through Donut's head right before he almost blew up a neighborhood, I thought it would be a good idea to throw this thing higher than I ever had to try to make it dive way in. And oh my God, did that backfire. That thing started spinning at the apex and went right straight back over my head towards the beach where hundreds of people are sitting. And you can't do anything about it because there's pops and cracks going off all over the place. And this thing just went up and over my head. I'm not kidding you guys. You remember those old nylon braided lawn chairs? But with like a generic lawn chair that has that hard nylon that's braided? This lady was sitting in one of those, and she stands up and opens up the cooler to reach in and grab a beer, and that ground bloom flower lit right in the middle of that lawn chair and melted a hole right through it and spun out into a little smoky pile underneath of it. And that woman's like, at this point in time, she didn't see who threw it. So there's probably 40 kids just watching it happen and wondering which one of us is going down for this one. No joke, you guys. She must have been drinking beer all day because she looked at the hole in the chair. She kind of tested it a little bit to see if it would still hold her weight, and she sat right back down and opened her beer up. It was like the biggest victory. I mean, we were all like, we talked about that for months afterwards because we really could have hurt somebody. And in the end, it just turned out to be, hey, another 4th of July story where we barely escaped injury, and we got to tell a story about it on a podcast some 30 years later. So,
That's awesome.
that one sticks out in my mind. Did you guys ever have Roman candle fights?
Oh, dude, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were.
The Roman candle fights were a lot of fun. I will tell you this. I will say be cautious with it. I had one last Roman candle. I was firing off right before my sister and I were headed to a barbecue. And I was in my probably like early high school or late junior high age. So I wanted to look cool. I'd put all thought into the dress. I got myself all, done up because there was going to be girls at this party. I had on some black shorts and I was firing this Roman candle, and my sister was like hurrying me up. She's at the car ready to go. I'm firing off the Roman candle in the driveway, and the last bullet shot right out the back end and hit me right in the crotch. I mean, the coldest, most unexpected nut shot that you've ever had. And to top it all off, because it blew out and there was explosive residue, I had like this white print right on the crotch of my black shorts. Looked like an explosion. And I couldn't do anything about it because my sister was like, you don't have time to change. Get in the car. We have to go. And so I had to go all embarrassed. A bunch of 8th grade freshman aged boys will ask a lot of questions about white spots on black shorts in that area. Especially when you're trying to work game with the ladies at the party. So Roman candles, I learned my lesson there. I have not actually shot off a Roman candle since that happened. Because I think I've got the fear, you guys. I'm worried that the next one's going to malfunction too. It's like, it's not the firework, it's me, right?
Yeah, you're traumatized.
Yeah, I really am.
I mean, my biggest fear is mechanical failure.
That makes sense in your line of work. So, Mike, you got any other stories for us or plans this year on how you're going to celebrate? Lay it on me, man. I mean, I told the guys before we came on and hit record in this interview, this one's going to be wide open and just very conversational. So understand that we're just kind of taking it as it comes here. If you're listening and wondering what the direction is, we're just talking 4th of July, man. And I'm disappointed we couldn't get more drivers in because I know the good stories are out there. I mean, hell, we're not 15 minutes into this interview and we've already talked about nearly blowing up a neighborhood. So, Mike, let's turn it over to you. Anything else for us, man? I mean, the bottle rocket fights sound fun, but I have to imagine when it came time to actually blow some stuff up, if you were the bottle rocket fighting type, you probably made some pretty cool stuff happen once it got dark and you guys really started flicking the lighters.
Yeah, I mean, obviously. But first of all, you were talking about the nylon freaking chairs.
Yeah,
and,
lawn chairs.
You know, the other day, yeah, I was at my son's baseball game last Saturday, and it's tournament week, so they played their first tournament game. They won, so they move on to the next one, I think, tomorrow. But anyways, the chairs that we have now, I'm fat, and so I've broken every single one of them. Because I don't know how to sit down softly. Like, I flop down in my chairs.
As is your right as a free American. I want to remind you that this
That right, okay?
God bless America. I'll sit down as hard as I want, dude.
Yeah, damn right.
Anyway, so I was sitting there in my broken chair at my son's baseball game, and I was looking at all these other fancy-ass chairs that these people have. There's ones that people have that are, like, rocking back and forth, and these are, like lawn chairs, you know? And there's some that have, like, canopies over them now. And I'm like, damn, dude. I was like, I remember back in the day, they were just those, like, shitty-ass nylon chairs with the metal all around it that was super easy to just, like, bend.
Yeah.
piece to bend, and also on a nice summer day, that metal would get to about 140 degrees, so you get a nice burn along the back of your thighs.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, the chairs haven't even gotten any better because I'm still breaking them. So, I mean, something's got to change here.
You know you're on a weight loss journey because you've talked about it on this podcast, so I'm going to say this. Yeah, it's the chairs that need to change.
It's 100% the problem.
Dude, I messed up on, like, during Thanksgiving, and I had one cookie, and I just went out of control, and I'm back. I only gained almost all my way back, but now I'm back to doing what I'm supposed to do. So, and I'm going to stay to it. No more weeds for me, man, because that's spun out of control really fast. But anyway, I digress. I used to blow shit up all the time, man. Like, you know, as a kid, your parents, you know, back in the day, they would just buy you, like, those bricks of firecrackers and just give you a punk and say, have fun, and then go back inside and enjoy the air conditioning.
Right.
Dumb idea to do that with a boy. I'm going to find everything I can that's around me, and I'm putting like 5, 6 firecrackers that are twisted together underneath something to see how high I can get it up in the air, or to see how badly I can destroy it. I mean, I think that's all boys. I mean, my son, dude, is even like, Dad, can I put this under here? I'm like, no, because your mom's out here, dude. Like, let's wait till your mom goes inside. Because I want to see what happens too, you know?
Right.
I'm curious, but give it a second. I love it, man. And you're right, because, you know, like I said, growing up in Oregon, we didn't get any good fireworks that weren't smuggled in, but we would definitely modify ones. Like, they have one called a Whistling Pete that it's just, all it does is just screams. It just sits on the ground and screams a real loud whistle, and that's it. And I don't know which genius figured this out, but we figured out that if you hammered the middle of it and mashed it down and then duct taped it really tightly, it basically became a small stick of dynamite. And it's just because the duct tape, I guess, kind of held in the whistle until it just exploded. I don't know what hammering it in the middle ever did, but it was
Look, dangerous doesn't even really cut it for a word. Like this could have been the most heinously that any of us were ever injured, and somehow we're all sitting here talking about it with 10 fingers and 10 toes.
I know, man.
I mean, it's pretty wild.
I've gotten to the point where, like, I got so bored. I was lighting firecrackers in between my fingers and just letting them blow up in between my fingers.
What?
I mean, it didn't do anything. It didn't blow my fingers off. But
Thankfully,
I was just like, that was it. You know? Who thought of sparkler bombs? Have you heard of those?
I have. And you know what I found out about sparklers today? I was doing some research here. Those things burn at over 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. That's hotter than boiling lava.
Will we get you?
Infants, for Christ's sake. I mean, you'll always see like an infant with a sparkler, and that's just a pile of lava on their hand, maybe. I mean, it is kind of.
Why?
Why?
America.
Well, America.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. America. And that's what I was just going to say. Like, it's the only country in the world, which is kind of, off the top. I was saying, like, what do they do in Mexico on the 4th of July? Do they even care? If they knew how much fun we were having, almost blowing our limbs off, they would probably jump on board and celebrate alongside of us, even though it's not Mexican Independence Day. It's just a fun reason to blow stuff up. I mean, it's funny because I sit here and talk some shit about the state of Oregon and banning the fireworks because of the memories it stole from me as a child. But honest to God, it's the right move. Our state is just boiling on fire in the middle of July. It gets really hot. There's a lot of places in the mountains where it hasn't rained in weeks. And so, yeah, it's the right idea. I'm still upset about it, but, we got some stuff one time, man. We had somebody that went up and spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars and just gifted a bunch of high school age kids some stuff that they shouldn't have had. And we had my family and a couple other families built a dock that basically was anchored out on the lake. So they have just basically 6 or 8 different spots that you can get. You get licensed, and then you can build up to a 20 by 20 anchored dock that sits out there. And ours just was a dock with carpet on it and a picnic table. And what we used to do is I would take the boat out with my friends after we'd done the whole daytime 4th of July celebration on the lake. All of the adults and the older folks would go up on the shore to watch the fireworks show and then drive home. We would take the boat out, me and all my friends. We would watch the fireworks from the lake, and then we would go out and stay the night out on the dock and do things that high schoolers do. And this one 4th of July, we got out there, and somebody had brought us one of those, it's like a mortar pack almost. It's like basically a box that has like 12 mortars in it, and they fire off, individually, and they go way up in the air and blow up. So cool stuff, right? Especially when you're out, it's pitch black. There's no unnatural light out on that lake this time of night. And we decided, it's about midnight, let's light this thing off. So I put it down on the picnic table, which was the first mistake. Because I didn't know that, when you fire 12 mortars out of something made of cardboard, it will move. And what happened was it fired the first 2, and it had kind of moved over towards the edge of the table, and nobody was brave enough to go over and push it back while there was another potential mortar on the way. And when the third one fired, the box plopped off the table, and all 12 barrels were pointed right at us. And there's nothing but water and a boat. Like there's no. People were bailing off in all directions. Like 4 of my friends jumped in the water fully clothed after midnight. And it just so happened that one of my friends, his name was Kyler. He was the hero that night. God bless you, Kyler. Took like a 3-step drop and toe punted that thing into the water. And it landed upside down and kept firing mortars down into the water, which was like the coolest light show you've ever seen. We're in a lake that's probably where we're anchored. It's probably like 80 to 100 feet. And it's not firing these things down there far, but it's kind of lighting up the bottom and stuff. Really cool way to almost injure so many people. And explaining the burn marks on the table and the carpet to my father after that weekend were also hard, but You know, it is what it is. It's another story where we almost died, and now we all tell the story really fondly, you know? Donut, I want to get back to you. You dabbling in the apprenticeship of pyrotechnics is just too good of a topic for me to go away from. What else did you get into? And first of all, tell me a little bit about this. What makes somebody go, hey, I want to apprentice with a pyrotechnician? Did you want to get into making fireworks, or were you just captivated by the boyhood curiosity of blowing things up like Mike was talking about?
The answer to that is yes.
Okay, both things.
I did stage acting in high school, and the guy I apprenticed under was the husband of one of my teachers. Well, he came in to do some of the lighting, and we did a play called "A Piece of My Heart." And one of the things we needed was a flash pot to go off behind one of the sets. "A Piece of My Heart" is about the Vietnam War, and more specifically about the nurses.
Okay.
So we needed a flash pot, and he was there setting it up. And it's like, hey, is anybody willing to come help me with this? I need one of your guys' help, because I can't go with you guys on the road. So one of you is going to have to set this off.
And you were just jumping foot to foot, waiting for him to call on you, I imagine.
Yeah, I was. And I'm like, oh, okay, so just a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And yeah, well, have you thought about this? That way it doesn't possibly go too big. And he's like, how the heck do you know that? No reason.
I've been blowing stuff up since I was 8. No reason, though.
Well, considering my birthday is really, really close to the 4th, it's kind of my favorite.
And so he just took you under his wing, and you were just apprenticing for him, just helping him out in his shop, or what?
Yeah, well, there's near where I live, he had a little workshop where he built the artillery for the local fireworks show. So yeah, he's just like, hey, come over here, come hang out with the guys, and I did.
Okay, so what's the coolest explosive that you ever made while you were in that stage of your life? And you can't say the one you almost blew up the neighborhood with, because we know that can't be true.
No, there was so there's this one. Everybody sees it in like the in that variety pack you buy. You see it on the side of the thing where it blooms up into this giant multicolored palm tree, but when you actually do it, it's just a big fucking circle.
Right.
It kind of streams off. Well, when you do it professionally, rather than mass produced, you can get that effect, and it's really neat. There's it's like 4 or 5 different charges. So there's the charge that sends it up, the center charge, which gives you the main color, and then all these smaller charges that come off, they give you that streamer effect.
That's cool.
So we made one of those where the shell was about as big as my head.
Wow.
And that was part of like the finale. It was the last thing that shot up higher than everything else and just lit up the whole sky.
That's cool. And do you have any idea like how high those things are meant to go before they go off?
I don't remember anymore. That was years ago.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. I guess that's always been something I've been curious about is obviously they look like they're a really long way away, but at night, it's hard to judge. I always wonder how high up those things are. And I got kind of a cool perspective on that, because there was one 4th of July years back where we didn't go out to the lake to watch the fireworks show, but my parents live up on a hill in an adjacent town. It's about 6 miles, maybe 7 miles away from where they shoot them off at. And you could totally see that they're not like when you're sitting there at the lake, it's surrounded by all these mountains. And when the fireworks go up, they look like they go up as high as the mountains and explode. But when you're watching it from a distance, what you realize is those things aren't really up there that high. Like they're up there, but they're not up there that high. Otherwise, it wouldn't be that cool of a show to watch. But I'm just curious, man. That's the best I can put it. And I've got a real pyrotechnician to ask questions to. So where do I buy this stuff?
$1 million question right there.
Yeah. I think the answer is you buy it right after you sign up for health insurance. Is what the order of operations is there.
I got it from the ATS. Buy it straight to the ATS website.
Okay, all right. And do I have to have, like, you said proper certifications earlier? Was that just a joke, or are there actually, like, do I have to get a license?
There actually are certifications so that you know what you're doing. So, depending on where you are and what you're getting, like they like to control that more strictly than gun laws in Chicago.
Wow. Well, I mean, with my state too, it's like I can get any drug I want to. I can go buy it wherever I want, but I can't shoot a bottle rocket.
Yeah.
Again, it's probably the right decision, but it still pisses me off. Oh man, but I have one last one because I think this was on 4th of July weekend. It wasn't really a fireworks thing, but just to give you guys a little bit of a peek behind the curtain of how backwoods and a little bit redneck it really was where I grew up. Beautiful area, but very rural, and kids get bored. And I know you guys know that if you grew up in small towns and you're listening to this thinking, yeah, when you're that age, like that late high school age, sometimes there's just nothing to do and you end up finding things to do. And these guys that did this, a couple of them are, they're acquaintances of mine. I wouldn't call them friends, especially after this incident, because they had a whole county pissed off at them when they took some little green propane cans out into a field and decided to do target practice with them and started like a multi-acre wildfire that had to be put out by the Forest Service and wildland firefighters and the whole lot. But yeah, that was something that happened, which I think that was a 4th of July weekend. It was like all the contract firefighters, there were no fires at that point in time. They're all out drinking, having a good time. And randomly everybody's phone starts ringing. You're like, we gotta go. Why? Where do we have to go? We have to go right over the hill from where you're at because Pat and a couple of his dipshit friends lit the whole field on fire. Fortunately, it was pretty close to the lake, so they could get the helicopter in there real easy and load up some water to put out the fires, which is another thing completely. But I have gotten to see a lot of times over the course of the summer. A lot of times it's late July that you see this. But last year I was sitting on a boat on the lake when the planes that needed water to go dump on fires came down and actually land on the water, and they fill up their tanks and take off from the water. It's really, really cool. I hate the fact that we have to have those because our state's always on fire. But again, it's probably the right idea that they outlawed the fireworks. I'm just going to keep saying that until I believe it. Fellas, I've had you on here for quite a while now. I want to give you a chance to tell any more stories that you've got before we let you go. So I'm going to combo this up and go to you guys for final stories and final thoughts as we start to put the bow on our 4th of July driver segment. And Mike, we'll start with you, man. Anything else that we didn't get to? How are you going to celebrate this year with your family? Anything like that before we let you go?
Yeah, well, last story. So my son, he's really gotten into 4th of July fireworks. Just like a 7-year-old boy, would.
Right.
Last year, our neighbors gave him this little. It was a little tiny mortar, right? It came in this little box. And I didn't realize that I thought that it was like there was a mortar inside this tube, but then there was like 3 additional fireworks with it. That's what I thought. So I was like, yeah, here, son, take this, go out there. And, because I let him light his fireworks now, he's old enough. I guess. Is he old enough? He's old enough to me, man. I mean, I was doing it way before his age. Anyway, I'm out there. I'm supervising,
Yeah, he's got to learn sometime.
So he does this little tiny firework. Okay, so he took the little firework out there. He lit it, and it did that, the sizzling sound, and then right, and I'm like, oh, that was it. And all of a sudden, boom! Like it was like so loud, it scared the shit out of him. Scared the shit out of me. Was not expecting that. And I'm like, what the hell, dude? So I look at the package again, and it's like Big Boom Stick or whatever was the name of the firework. And I finally realized
that we were supposed to put those little fireworks in the tube, and that shot up in the air and exploded. We were just lighting them on the ground, and I was like, oh, I should have done this better.
Answering the question how to turn a mortar into a bomb. Just light it without a tube and it becomes one. It's that simple. That's great, too. And only in America will a 7-year-old receive what is effectively a bomb as a gift from a well-meaning neighbor. Let's have this. Let's light this little boy's face up. He's gonna have such a fun time. I bet you it's one of his favorite memories, isn't it?
Oh yeah, he loves it. And I was home this weekend, and he saw the tents up and everybody out there. He's like, Dad, the fireworks didn't open. I'm like, no, dude, we'll go next weekend, I promise. So this weekend we're gonna grab some fireworks, and Fourth of July is literally on a Friday this year, so
that's awesome.
I'll actually be able to be home. So.
Well, I know that you're not going to put back a bunch of hot dogs because you're talking about your diet. So I will tell you that for you, I will put back extra hot dogs, okay? Just because
dude, I'm having burgers. I'm having burgers and brats, bro.
Okay, all
I
right.
can have whatever I want.
Oh, you can. Okay, so you told me you had a cookie on Thanksgiving and the whole wheels fell off. So I was just making sure.
Yeah, that's different, man. I can't eat sweets, bro.
Okay. So the protein's okay. You can just smash steak all day.
Yeah, well, with Weight Watchers, it's a little bit different. I can eat whatever I want. I just have to make sure I track it and not go over my points.
Okay, gotcha. Cool. Well, keep us updated on that, and thank you for talking about it on here because I know it hasn't been easy on you, and I know that you've made quite a lot of progress. So we'll come back and update that again later on. But Mike Stanfield, appreciate you being here. Happy Independence Day, 4th of July, or whatever you celebrate, my friend. Always good to have you on here.
Yeah, I love coming on, man. Love talking to you guys. And it was a blast. Happy Independence Day.
Thanks, buddy. Donut, on to you. How are you celebrating? Any stories that you left out that you'd like to tell, or final thoughts for us before we wrap up?
As for celebrating, we're probably gonna do a cookout. I'm gonna go buy one of those those big variety pack things with artillery batteries and all that fun stuff. Smoke some meat, barbecue some stuff, and hang out with the family. I actually would like to share a moment of whoops with fireworks.
Mean another moment of whoops with fireworks.
Hey, that was okay. Maybe that was just kind of okay. Maybe something a little different next time. This was just a whole why am I even here? So, because much like you, who asked, oh, so you were an apprentice to a pyrotechnician, so you know this stuff. No, I really don't. I was an apprentice. I never got very far. Well, mostly because I moved, but so I'm like, oh, so you know what you? I was at a cousin's that I didn't grow up with these cousins. They're my father's family. I didn't really know them. But I went to spend the holiday with my great grandma. She was a bajillion, so who knew? Who knew if this was going to be the last opportunity? Well, they're like, oh, okay, well, you know what you're doing, so come out here. I'm like, well, it's basic safety. I'm not a rocket scientist or anything, but hey, I got you. So I go out there, I'm like, okay, so we need to set this up over here, put those over there with a bucket of water next to them just in case. Do this. Okay, perfect. So I've got a bunch of stuff set off. We've lit off. We've got a nice little stable stand set up, and I'm making sure that everything's secure. I'm like, all right, light. Well, my cousin's husband, he knocked over the thing that he was supposed to light. I'm like, wait on that. We'll get these started, and then I'll help you with that. He's like, okay. So we got them started. And then I see the sparkle out the corner of my eye. I'm like, I told you to wait. Oh, this is not good. It instantly shot off into the entire cache of fireworks and lit them all off.
Oh my god, dude!
Oh, God.
That's like the
Yes,
one
that's
thing that
amazing.
it's the one thing that you can't have happen.
That's amazing.
I saw it happening, and as soon as that lit, as soon as I saw what was going on, the two batteries we had lit off were going, and I was like, "There's no way I can get to that before it goes off." So I just took a big step back and went, "Everybody move!"
Oh wow! And did everybody
They're like
move?
I've seen movies.
No, because it was a bunch of children. They heard everybody move, and they scattered in the direction of the fireworks. So here I am running around with this explosion going off, putting myself between the fireworks detonating and these children. I say children because I was in my 20s and they were like teens. They thought they were adults, just like we all did when we were there.
Yep. Okay, so did anybody get hurt in this little whoops?
Me. A little bit, mostly my jacket. My jacket caught fire while I was putting myself between the fireworks and some of my little cousins.
Of course it did. Of course it did. Like, this is just a comedy of errors. Not only does he shouldn't fire it off, but then he fires it off. It goes into the stash, lights them all on fire. Now the only guy that's trying to help is running around with a jacket that is on fire.
Oh yeah, he ran into the house.
Of course he did. Why wouldn't he? He's gonna protect yourself, man. Every moment for himself.
Dude, that's some straight up movie shit.
I looked at him running away with elbows. I'm like, the hose is open. He's just hiding. I looked at my cousin. I'm like, right before everything goes off, I look at my cousin. I go, really?
That's the man you married? So you better hope a bear never attacks you in the woods. He's gonna shove you down and take off.
The funniest part about the whole thing, I don't know if it's funny or not. My father's a vet. He hasn't done well with fireworks my entire life.
Yep, I understand that.
He dove when the first shot went off. It came right towards his face. He dropped backwards, rolled out of it, and started to panic. Then saw me walking straight through all the fire and went, "Hold on a minute. I was a soldier. This dude hasn't done any of that, and he's walking right there. I got to do better." And he was fine. Has been fine since.
That's cool, man. Well,
yeah, that's awesome.
I will say this to your dad's credit. I know that vets have trouble around the 4th of July because so many animals end up either lost or hurt during the fireworks celebrations. And it is something that I will make a note of later on in the show to make sure and remind people that while all red-blooded Americans are going to love to blow shit up on the 4th of July and the surrounding time, we do got to remember our furry little friends do not do well with this for large part. It's weird because my corgis, they lose their mind when I bump into the counter and it sort of sounds like somebody stepped on the deck. Like they are instantly barking pretty much all the time. But when the 4th of July rolls around and people start blowing stuff up, those two dogs lay down and they are quiet the entire time. Ever since I've had them, 11 years for the older one and 7 years for the younger one, I've never once heard them bark at a firework. And I'm wondering if it's just because they're so sheltered that they don't know what it is. And it goes on too long for them to care. But you guys know we got a huge soft spot for our furry pets on this show. And don't want anybody to have a bad experience or anybody's pet to have a bad experience. So take the precautions that are necessary, please. And please do be careful for your own life and limb. Obviously, we've told the story and painted the picture of Donut being a hero and walking through the fire and flames like in a metal music video. But let's face it, if you can keep yourself out of those situations to begin with, that's probably the way to go.
Yeah, read the instructions so you're not lighting mortars on the ground.
Instructions? Can you say that word slower? I don't think I've ever heard it before. Read the what?
Instructions.
Yeah, I don't know what.
Directions.
Directions. It's that piece of paper that you pull out first out of the box. And you throw it aside going, I don't need that.
Yeah, right. I always scribble down notes on the back of that thing.
Yeah, it's the thing that had the Allen wrench attached to it that you're looking for the next 2 hours.
Okay, gotcha. gotcha. I'll pay special attention to those next time. Mike Stanfield and Mikal Donut Duncan, as I've said before, always a blast when we get you guys on this show. Thanks for hanging out and talking to me today. Happy 4th of July to you guys, and please be safe out there on the road when you got those 18 wheels under you, and be safe when you're blowing shit up on the 4th of July. Happy Independence Day, fellas. We'll talk to you again soon, okay?
Hell yeah. God bless America.
Big thanks go out to Mike and Donut for coming on the show. Those guys are on the show a lot, and they really help me out, okay? I can't tell you, all of you drivers, enough how much it means to me that you're willing to come on here and just basically talk mess with me for sometimes up to an hour. I think that was like 46 minutes or something on that interview. Really appreciate you guys, and it's so cool, too, having met so many of you now. So many diverse personalities, so many different ways that people got into the industry. You know, people like to look at the trucking industry and just paint everything as that's the truckers, and that's the only identifier you get. I get to meet a lot of you guys, and I get to see all of the nuance and all of the personality, all of the cool things that you get into with your families and in your off time. So it just means a lot to me. And as we sit here and celebrate the freedoms that we have in this great nation, I feel incumbent upon me to share a little bit of the love today, okay? Really appreciate Mike and Donut for coming on, and appreciate the rest of you guys every chance we get. I told you in the lead up to the interview that I had some 4th of July facts that I wanted to get to. And as is per usual, we got to talking, we got into a conversation, we found some rabbit holes about blowing stuff up, and that pretty much dominated all the time that we have. So fortunately, I've set back a little bit of time for you here towards the end of the show so we can talk a little 4th of July facts. These are crazy, you guys, and some of them are a bit funny, some of them are less so, but here's one thing I want to say, and since we just touched on it there towards the end of our interview, I do want to just go ahead and hit it one more time. We love our pets here at the Liquid Trucking Podcast, and I know that there's a lot of you dog owners out there and cat owners as well, and maybe those of you that own chameleons and iguanas, I don't know. But you're concerned because you know that your pet is about to go into or go through kind of a traumatic experience. And look, I totally get it. I'm fortunate that my dogs don't really react to it, but you know what? Cuddle up with them in the bed, put on a nice loud movie, get some snacks in there, get them in a comfortable place, and just try to keep them quiet for the night if you can. And if you're out there lighting off fireworks, having fun, look, I get that too, man. That's a blast. Just be careful. Look for the furry friends around. I've seen some dogs chase fireworks that take off before, and of course, it's not very likely that they're going to catch up to them. It might hit the ground and explode right when that dog arrives. So just be careful out there. And that will make me feel better as a dog owner, having said that to you on the podcast. Now let's get into some stats here. The Consumer Report has come out with its 2023 numbers for accidents on the 4th of July. Now, the 2024 numbers, I think it just takes them longer to aggregate this because the only ones that I could find for this purpose were the 2023 numbers, but they're still relevant as the CPSC reported nearly 10,000 fireworks-related ER visits in 2023, including 8 deaths, and fireworks caused about 800 injuries. Sparklers, those little sticks of lava that we talked about that burn at over 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit, were actually to blame for about 700 injuries in 2023, okay? Mostly the hands and faces because, yeah, it's really hot. It's like hot enough to weld with, okay? So, look, I know, we talked about it with the drivers. You'll hand a toddler a sparkler and not think twice about it. But you got to think twice, right? People get injured. 1 in 3 injuries are burn-related. Burns make up about 42% of the ER-treated fireworks injuries in 2023. Teens aged 15 to 19 and kids 5 to 9 are actually the most injured. I could have sworn you were going to tell me that 45 to 54 age group had some pretty heavy numbers in it too, because look, we all know that kids can get injured just doing kid stuff, but dads, this is prime injured dad type holiday celebrations here, right? Like, if dad was going to get hurt, it was either going to be dropping the turkey into the deep fryer when it was still frozen on Thanksgiving, or something was going to blow up on the 4th of July. Those were the only two holidays we really had to be concerned for his life and limb. So I am surprised that kids are more often injured than dads, okay? And I don't even think you have to put an age demographic on it. You could just say dads. Also, another big uptick in swimming mishaps over the 4th of July weekend. Swimming accidents actually jumped to the 5th most common injury event during July 1st through the 8th. And believe it or not, bonfires. Yeah, bonfires. There's a lot of anecdotal evidence on the internet of the fact that people love to get drunk around bonfires and then fall into them. Okay? So, I enjoy a tall, cool one as much as the next guy. Silver bullet all the way. But you want to stay clear of the fire. See, because sometimes alcohol will make you fall down, even when you're not ready and didn't know that you were about to fall down. So if you give yourself a person-sized buffer from the bonfire, A, you don't get your tootsies too warm because those things are huge, and B, you don't drunk fall into the fire and end up in the ER and all over Reddit with the rest of these people. Grill burns and fires, about 16,600 ER visits annually, plus 9,600 grill-related fires per year. That's a little scary. Boating accidents surge. Okay, so we know this. Be careful, all right? That's the name of the game. We're going to get to some of these that are a little bit less macabre, if you will. How about this? Consumption and expenditure is a real big part of the 4th of July weekend, as many of you red-blooded Americans know. Americans will spend $15.5 billion. Excuse me, Americans spent $15.5 billion overall for July 4th in 2024. $9.4 billion of that goes to food. Food's the number one spend. Doesn't surprise me. I mean, just the Nathan's hot dog eating contest alone, for crying out loud. What's that got to be? $10,000 worth of weenie? $4 billion on alcohol, which means we're only spending like a cool $1 billion on fireworks themselves. So definitely be careful out there. Beer, wine, spirits, and other alcohol add hundreds more. Spirits and other alcohol add hundreds of millions more. That $4 billion, that's just beer and wine. That's just beer and wine. That's garden party stuff. 150 million hot dogs. I gotta be honest, that seems light. That seems light. I figured if I'm gonna be good for 16 or 14 or maybe even just a baker's dozen, there's got to be other red-blooded Americans out there that are willing and able to compete. So, listen, good job on the expenditure here, Americans, but I feel like we could do better when it comes to hot dogs. Americans on average per person will spend between $76 and $93 on food and drink over the 4th of July weekend. 68 million cases of beer will be sold. That's just a phenomenal number. Ketchup on everything. Yeah, Americans dropped $37 million on ketchup for July 4th barbecues alone, okay? Whoever would have thought that Heinz ketchup was just going to be as American as apple pie? I mean, I guess, it was invented here and everything. Whatever. Travel splurge. 70.9 million people will travel over 50 miles for the 4th. And the travel spending hit runs about 30 billion. Just a cool little number there. And I'm guessing that's about all on the consumption. Recreation and traditions. I've got some here too. 62% of you will be attending barbecues or picnics. 40 million households will grill. 67% of Americans will fire up the grill. Let's see. Fireworks displays are attended by 62 to 66% of Americans. I had to say that sounds light. I mean, because I think when I was a kid, nobody did anything else on the 4th of July other than go to the fireworks display. Like that was everybody. But who knows? One holiday pumps out 94 kilotons of CO2. That's American as I've ever heard. 200 pounds per person. CO2 gas will be expended in the skies of the United States of America And yeah, it's really about it. There's some more. I hate to just sit here and tell you about all the bad things that happen over the 4th of July, because there is a lot of them. It's a dangerous weekend, folks. And maybe that's how we should wrap up today's show, is by telling you, be careful out there, have fun, drink responsibly, fill your body with hot dog meat responsibly, eat just cups of ketchup, because apparently we're spending 37 million on it, so you better be knocking that stuff back like it's reposado. Yeah, just enjoy America for everything it's worth, just like Trevor.
So I'm gonna kick a little ass, gonna kick some ass in the USA, gonna climb a mountain, gonna soul flag, gonna fly on an eagle. I'm gonna kick some butt, I'm gonna drive a big truck, I'm gonna roll this world, I'm gonna kick some ass, I'm gonna rise, I'm gonna kick a little ass, rock, flag, and eagle.
Since I made it the official anthem of our 4th of July celebration here on the Liquid Trucking Podcast, I had to play it a second time. But now, in the most true American fashion that I could possibly close this episode out with, I'm going to play you the Star-Spangled Banner. God bless America. Thank you all for being here today on the Liquid Trucking Podcast celebration. I hope you have a fantastic time with your families and friends celebrating the 4th of July. Be safe out there. Keep the shiny side up and make sure the hot end is pointed away from you. We'll see you next weekend, Liquid Trucking.
Thanks for tuning in and being the gold standard of drivers on the road. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel and tune in next week for another episode of the Liquid Trucking Podcast.
Interested in finding out more about what it takes to bring a podcast like the Liquid Trucking Podcast to your fleet? Bulldog provides tailor-made, top-to-bottom podcast production services. We'll meet your terminal staff, connect with your drivers, and bring you the content you want your drivers to hear. Type bulldog.works into your browser to connect with us and learn more about what we can do for your fleet. That's bulldog.works for podcasts, tenacious recruiting, and more.